Here is the Denago Cruiser 1, a lightweight step-through electric cruiser. It's easy to ride and almost anyone can fit on it. With its wallet-friendly price of just over $1,000, is this Denago Cruiser any good? Stay tuned and you'll find out. Greetings, I'm Forrest here at the Electric Bike Report. Now if you're in the hunt for a classic looking low-cost cruiser e-bike, then you'll want to take a closer look at this bike, Denago's Cruiser 1. Featuring its lightweight step-through frame, 350 watt hub motor, comfortable upright posture and mustache handlebar, this classic looking cruiser e-bike offers a comfortable ride at a comfortable price of just over $1,000. This bike is sure to be a hit for folks who don't want to spend a lot of money, but want a classic style e-bike that's easy to ride around their community. Designed for easy maintenance, the Cruiser keeps things simple so you can ride this often and feel like you're getting your money's worth from buying it. Denago helped keep the price down by making this bike simple. There are no lights on the bike, which is normal for e-cruisers in this price range, but it does come with a safety belt and fenders to keep you clean. And it's also available in 3 different colors, pink, teal, and tan. And that isn't so common for similarly priced e-bikes. The seemingly modest 350 watt motor actually proved to have some good pep when we needed real motor engagement to get us up to 20 miles per hour. Feeding the motor is the 36 volt 11 amp hour battery. Now, even though 11 amp hours is smaller than what you usually find on cruisers, this bike is lighter than most and it doesn't use as much power. And the 3 amp charger, it can charge the battery in only 3 to 4 hours. Gearing on this bike features the Shimano Tourney. It's 7-speed and it's got a 14 to 28 tooth cassette and a 42 tooth chainring. Shifting is with the Shimano Revo Shift. It's a twist shifter and it's got an easy to read optical gear display. Stopping power on this bike comes from the Jack mechanical disc brake system. It uses 180 millimeter rotors, and this brake system also has an automatic cutoff that engages whenever you pull on either brake lever. So you can be confident that the motor doesn't keep going when you want it to stop. This cruiser also rolls on 27.5 inch by 2.3 inch cruiser tires. They're puncture resistant and they have a safety reflective strip on the sidewall so people can see you better at night. Tipping the scale at a mere 55 pounds, this bike is easier to lift on a rack for transportation or place it in the trunk of your car or back of an SUV for easier transport. The maximum rider weight is 300 pounds, and if you get the optional rear rack, its cargo capacity is 55 pounds. Our team agreed that this bike looks cool, and you can't beat the price. But how did it do on our performance tests? That's up next. Rider safety is a big focus here at Electric Bike Report, and that's why we do a brake test. Our brake test involves pedaling the bike up to 20 miles per hour with the help of pedal assist, and then our rider quickly pulls on both brake levers to stop the bike. We measure the distance it took for him to stop, and then we do this at least 2 more times and calculate the average stopping distance. The Cruiser 1's average stopping distance was 27 feet 11 inches. And that was about 5 feet longer than the average for cruiser e-bikes. Why the big difference? Well, the other cruisers use hydraulic disc brakes, and that enables them to stop more quickly. This bike uses mechanical disc brakes, and it tends to take a little bit longer to stop. Hydraulic brakes have become more common on e-bikes because they stop better. Mechanical disc brakes, they're cheaper, which is likely why Denago chose these brakes to help keep the price down. The benefits of having mechanical disc brakes, they're easier to install, easier to maintain, and replacement parts cost less. Since this is a cruiser e-bike, riders will likely average slower speeds, meaning their stopping ability probably won't be challenged as much. These Jack mechanical disc brakes, They have 180mm rotors and an automatic motor shutoff when you brake. They engaged well for us during our other test rides, but we'd still like to see Denago offer optional hydraulic brakes that can stop this bike more quickly. We understand that Denago's goal was to make the Cruiser One's price competitive. So if you decide you want hydraulic brakes, this is an easy enough job for most shops and not too pricey depending on the hydraulic system you choose. We run a speed test to tell us what the bike's top speed is in each pedal assist level. This information can also help you in deciding which PAS mode best fits your particular ride situation. Let's take a look at the video of this bike's PAS speed during our test ride. So I'm pedaling along right now with no pedal assist coming from the motor, and we're doing about 10 miles an hour in 5th gear. So cruise is okay. But it's hot today, about 108 degrees, so I want to do a little less pedaling, so I'm going to engage in the PAS1. And so PAS1, there's a little bit of engagement there. I feel a little bit of help coming from the motor, and we're getting up to about 11.5 miles an hour now. So now let's try PAS2. Whoops. Nice buttons with my gloves. There we go, PAS2. Not a whole lot of engagement there. About a half a mile per hour faster. So now we're going to go PAS3 and feel good to click up to 7th gear now, and doing about 13.5 miles an hour. Now PAS4, now the motor's come to life and feeling better. Yeah, 15.5, 16 miles an hour. Now we're in top gear, 16.5. So now we're going to try PAS5, and there's a nice delivery of motor engagement with my pedaling. So doing 19 miles an hour, and I'm almost ghost pedaling now. That is where I'm pedaling and it doesn't really feel like I'm doing much with the bike, but at least keeping the motor engaged. So PAS4 and 5, pretty decent power output. PAS3 okay, PAS1 and 2 not a lot of power engagement. Okay, throttle test, Denago Cruiser, 0 to 20, how many seconds will it take? In order to get the throttle to engage, we have to start pedaling, so on your marks, get set, go! So I have the throttle on, there we go. Can stop pedaling at 8.5 miles an hour, 9.3, 10.6 miles an hour, 11.6, 12.5, 14 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. There we go. Alrighty. That was the throttle test. Now time to head back, folks. Pedaling this bike to around 10.4 miles per hour was pretty easy. That's thanks to the bike's 55-pound weight. You might have noticed that this bike doesn't take off like a rocket, but we were impressed with the power that the Shanyi 350-watt 36-volt rear hub motor produced. PAS1 and 2 produced speeds that were relatively docile, about 11.4 miles per hour and 12.3 miles per hour, respectively. And this is likely geared more towards those who need help to get the bike moving, period. But then, when clicking into PAS3, the bike began to pick up the pace more noticeably, getting it up to 13.5 miles per hour. PAS4 and 5 is where I saw the greatest power output, up to 16.6 miles per hour and 20.4 miles per hour, respectively. And that makes both PAS modes ideal for riding on the street when you need a higher average speed. As a Class 2 e-bike, the Cruiser One has a throttle and a pedal assist to help the bike reach a top speed of 20 miles per hour. Gearing involves the 14 to 28 tooth cassette and 42 tooth chainring. And gear shifting is using Shimano's 7-speed RevoShift grip shifter. One of the first things I discovered when riding this bike was that the pedal assist doesn't engage immediately. So if you want to speed up quickly, use the throttle. Also, there's a lag of around 2 to 3 pedal rotations before the motor engages with your pedaling. And that's due to the cadence sensor. But the cadence sensor aligns with this bike's low cost, simple design, and aligning it with the unofficial motto of just keeping things simple. Since this bike pedals fairly easy up to 10 miles per hour with no motor, we think Denago should consider recalibrating the PAS levels so you can get slightly higher speeds at PAS 1 and 2. We know cruising is not about going fast, but we do think riders will benefit more from having a speed range that's more spaced apart. The range test answers two key questions. How far can the bike go, and how long will this battery last? So we do two different tests to help us find the answers. Now in the first range test, we ride using the lowest PAS mode suitable for continual long distance riding. In the second PAS test, we use the highest PAS mode, and that tells us how far the bike can go when using maximum power output from the motor. In the first range test, using our chosen minimum PAS of PAS 3, this bike traveled just under 35 miles. Now this result doesn't look so good compared to the other cruisers we tested, but the other cruisers used PAS 1 or 2, not PAS 3. We used PAS 3 because it consistently delivered enough speed to help us pedal around the course and climb the hills, where we felt PAS 1 and 2 were only good enough for riding on a flat course. In the maximum PAS range test, using PAS 5, the result was 18 miles. Now this result also wasn't as far as other cruiser bikes we tested, but as mentioned before, the other cruisers had bigger batteries, with some having twice the watt hours of this battery. And they also cost several $100s more. So it makes sense that this 11 amp hour battery wouldn't take us as far. And this is also another factor that helps keep the cost down on this bike. Now on a positive note, this 36 volt battery, it recharges in 3 to 4 hours, which is close to half the time it takes to recharge the average 48 volt batteries that we normally see. We were curious to see how well this e-bike can climb hills. Now let's watch Justin, our hill test rider, as he tested this bike on its hill climbing ability.
Okay, so here we are on the Denago Cruiser. I'm kind of excited to see how this does. The Denagos have traditionally done very well, but this one's only a 350 watt rear hub drive. And it's a beach cruiser, so I'm not expecting a ton, but so far, you know, this section here is a fairly steep section, and it feels pretty good. I mean, have had to shift, you know, to an easier gear, but as long as I'm doing that, I really don't have to push on the pedals much. So I mean, this, you know, pedal test, obviously I'll get to the top of hole. Right now I'm right around 6 miles per hour. So definitely on kind of like the lower end, but kind of what I was expecting, given again, 350 watt rear hub motor, beach cruiser style. It's not really the normal style for charging hills. This next section here, I'm just gonna let you listen to the motor so you can kind of hear there's a soft, you know, kind of sound coming from it. Let you hear it. So you hear that motor noise just a little bit, kind of to be expected. In the last section, got down to right just over 6 miles per hour. So no, it's not a hill charger, but you're not going to see too many hills like this, you know, in areas where you're normally going to ride a beach cruiser style bike. So if you want this style and ride around places where there's hills, you'll be able to make it up. You won't charge up super fast, but you can get up there without sweating too bad. And overall, I'm pretty impressed with that 350 watt rear hub motor.
So the bike was not able to complete hellhole on just throttle power, but it was able to get there with some pedaling. Using the PAS 5 mode in the maximum PAS pedaling test, this bike showed us how important our pedaling is in helping this motor get us to the top of the hill, which it did in a time of 1 minute and 58 seconds and an average speed of 8.7 miles per hour. Way to go, little pink bike. Now, using only a 350 watt motor, the Denago performed better than expected, making it to the top of the hill. Like Justin said in his ride, we didn't expect it to be a hill champion, but it's nice knowing it can take on extremes with some rider input. If you plan on going up steep hills regularly, this might not be the ride for you. However, if you're looking to explore your neighborhood more and have enjoyable, relaxing rides to your nearby park, this bike should do just fine helping you along your average rolling hill. Now we're going to pivot over and talk about this bike's ride quality. For real-life examples of real-world riding, let's switch over now and watch me cover these points while I was riding this bike. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the ride quality here on the Denago Cruiser. So I'm in PAS 4 right now and moving along pretty nicely. This bike being a cruiser, it's upright posture and pretty relaxed seated position here for this ride. And my hands got a good bend on the elbows, easy to reach the handlebars. The mustache style handlebars here, they have about an 8-inch rise and curve back, designed to meet your hands with ease for easy controlling. And this bike is easy to control. For suspension, it's rigid suspension, rigid fork, no rear suspension. And so most of the suspension work is handled by the tire, the 27.5 inch by 2.3 inch road tire. It's got nice road tread here, good traction, good handling on this bike path. I would stay away from sand and gravel and ice though with these kind of tires. The seat is a standard seat, generally comfortable for the 20 miles or so that I usually ride on this bike. There's a quick release on the seat post that has done a marvelous job staying put, giving me the height I need for the leg extension I need for good pedaling. Because I'm an active pedaler, I like to help out and not rely on the motor the whole time. And the motor's the bright spot. It's only 350 watts and it's a hub motor, but they've got it tuned up well. Not a lot of power in the lower PAS settings, but as you start to speed up, this thing starts to really kick in and get you going at a good safe speed. Just helpful in case you're in a hurry and need to get somewhere. So all in all, you know, pretty comfortable ride here on the Denago Cruiser. Die-hard cruiser fans will tell you the ride is about experiencing and being part of your surroundings on the ride. You're going to feel more relaxed sitting and pedaling on this bike, and you're going to average slower speeds because you're not in a hurry. Riding a lightweight cruiser like this Denago makes your ride more simple with the easy pedaling and simple controls. The classic looking swept back mustache handlebar gives your hands a comfortable place to rest, and it gives the bike that classic cruiser feel. Sitting upright, the seat post quick release gives you the height you need for optimum leg extension when pedaling. After all, why work harder than you need to? This bike has aluminum alloy rigid front fork, and instead relies on the 27.5 by 2.3 inch cruiser tires for absorbing the bumps in the road. Their tread provides better traction and handling on the streets and bike paths, but you'll want to avoid sand, snow, and wet conditions. These tires also have a safety reflective stripe on the sidewall, so people can see you better at night. The motor engagement, it's consistent and predictable, and that's what you'll want. I mentioned earlier that the motor begins engaging with your pedaling on around the second rotation. This is pretty normal with similar cruiser e-bikes. Riders who don't want to pedal too much and who want to cap their speeds below 15 miles per hour will like riding in the lower PAS levels. Whereas riders who are in a hurry will appreciate the top speeds PAS 4 and 5 will take you. I have to say again, considering the motor is only 350 watts, we were surprised to see such a robust power output in PAS 4 and 5. The big picture on Denago's Cruiser 1 uncovers an e-bike that broke the mold on what a cruiser should be. By limiting what's put on this bike, Denago managed to keep the weight below average, making the ride quality above average. Keeping the components at a bare minimum also made this bike more affordable than what you'd usually see an electric cruiser priced at, while still featuring some nice options on an entry-level bike. The look and the feel of this bike holds true to the standards that many riders have come to expect from a cruiser. Now whether it's the mustache handlebar, frame ergonomics, or the overall appearance of this bike, you're getting a bona fide cruiser at an affordable price. This cruiser has the essentials you need for a good riding experience, and you can't beat the price. So I'd recommend this bike to anyone looking for a good low-cost cruiser for getting out and about a little more. To learn more about pricing, please click the link in the description below. If you decide to purchase this bike, please use our link in the description below. This does help support what we do here at Electric Bike Report. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, then please click like. If you're not currently a subscriber to our channel, then please subscribe. It really helps us get the word out to others about e-bikes. Also, be sure to click the link to our in-depth written review. It has the details I mentioned today, plus a lot of other important stuff. So that's it for now. I'm Forrest Woolman with the Electric Bike Report. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you out there on the bike trails, and please remember, keep your hands on the bar, your feet on the pedals, and your eyes on the road. And I'll see you next time here at the Electric Bike Report channel.